Hi, and welcome to my video. Today I'm going to be working on this model you see here. So this is near the finalized stage of it. This is when I'm pretty much done in the 3ds Max. And I'm going to be kind of showing you my thought process and my overall modeling process for this model. So let's go on ahead and hop right on into it. So as you can see there on the left, kind of my idea where I kind of started. I'm a big fan of Star Citizen as well as Cyberpunk, so I'm kind of using both as kind of inspiration for this piece. So I will see how far both of these take me. Right now I'm just kind of blocking out the general size, shape, and height of the model. Some of these variables have changed throughout my modeling process, but for the most part, this is kind of the scale that I stick with. Right now, I'm just trying to kind of align everything with the kind of block out that I created. There in the background, you can see a bunch of screw and bolt assets that I've been using throughout this project to kind of help facilitate those kind of needs. So I'll be using them on this piece as well. So I highly recommend little mechanical things like that. I highly recommend things like this that are very like supplemental and easily changeable, that you look at purchasing them or finding free versions or something like that. And now I'm just kind of going through here and adding the cross supports, which will eventually become a full platform, which you'll see here shortly that I turn it into that. So here, so I end up booleaning it with an additional piece, and then I just kind of go through and combine the edge pieces, and then I just fix up the topology here a bit. So nothing too extreme, just pretty basic stuff, just kind of straightening out the edges and making sure everything is really clean as I head into the next phase, which is going to be adding the screws and stuff. And since I was pretty happy with that, I just symmetried it, and that pretty much completed it for me. So just had to recenter it and then hit it with the symmetry tool. And then I also symmetried it in half just to make my life a little bit more complete. So, and then it was perfect after that. I was pretty happy with that. Fitted in size. And then that would allow me to use this piece for the bottom and then resizing it again for the top as well. But I kind of go through here and just kind of tweak the sizes of it, and I end up doing that again later on, so I didn't end up including most of that. So, but as you can see here, I'm kind of going through and changing the size of that. Initially, I was just going to go through with just this as the top bracket piece, but I ended up going with an additional fully enclosed piece on the top as well, but it's a slightly different one due to the top piece having like an insert style. But I'm just kind of going through here and figuring out how I want to do this, because I realize, you know what, I want to change these because I want these to loop inwards like those. So I go through and make a copy of that, and then I add a cut where the leg gets cut off. So and then from that point downwards, I decided just to remove it entirely from the model rather than just cutting out that little insert. I thought that this looked a lot better. Then I just fix the smoothing groups so that it doesn't bother me when I'm looking at it. And then I just use the mirror tool there at the top to just kind of align it correctly. So, and then I just went into the top view to align it with my beam that I just put in there. And then deleting the old model. And then we'll just make an instance of this one, so that way we can easily change it in the future. That edge ends up changing quite a bit, so as you can see, I'm like, I don't know what I want to do yet with this. I didn't, but later on I figured it out, so. Yep, then we get an instance of that. We realize, nope, we can't rotate it. We're just gonna use the mirror tool, because the mirror tool is awesome. And then we're just gonna align it with the top. Just gonna align it in one direction, because the other direction is already pretty much aligned. So, and I'm pretty happy with that at this point. So I'm gonna move on to adding this screw. So I ended up picking out a flathead screw. I used like a very interesting screw on my last piece, and I wanted to use something relatively simple, something pretty common. Since this is a pretty basic model, it probably would not use super expensive screws or anything like that, or super unique ones. So I went through and cleaned up the topology just a little bit on the screw, but you'll see me clean it up a little bit more here in just a moment. But here you'll kind of see how I go about creating my circle. It kind of depends on the geometry of the surrounding area, but my goal in the end is always to create an inset of 2x2 of quads or of polys, and then using the loop tool, circle tool, just to get a really clean circle, and then just kind of scaling it and moving it around to fit exactly where I want it to be. So pretty much decided this is where I wanted the screw to be. I really liked it, so I decided just to kind of move it around until I was satisfied with it, and then added a couple extrusions inwards just to add a little pocket for the screw to rest in, and also moved the screw out a little bit so that way it's not flush with the metal, that it's sticking out just a little bit. I think that gives it a little bit more character and tells a bit better of a story. Now I'm just kind of playing around with the scalings of the insides of it and stuff like that. So fixing the screw and all of its various issues. So yeah, I'm just kind of going through and cleaning up different areas on the screw, just so that way when it turbo smooths, it looks a lot cleaner. My goal here is, of course, at least for me, is a sub-D workflow. So I work from like a low to mid poly, and then usually I subdivide the mid poly, and that gives me a really clean high poly. My goal being just to get the general shape, and then allowing it to do additional work to the model to give it more detail. So, and as you can see, when we turbo smooth it, and then look at it without edged faces on, you can see that it looks pretty damn clean, and I'm pretty happy with that. And I know it'll bake quite nice, so I end up using it as the universal screw for the whole model. So now I'm just kind of going through, selecting all of my edges for my different beams, starting with my main beam here, and giving it a nice bevel. Gonna go through and double check some things, because usually I miss something. So as you can see, that corner looks kind of ugly, but we'll be going back and fixing that with some better topology. All the other corners look pretty good. All the other edges look pretty good. It's just kind of those that look kind of ugly. those beveled pretty good. That beveled pretty much the same way as the other side. So I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm going to continue forward. But as you can see with the turbo smooth turned on, it ruins that corner. So we're going to go through and fix that. Just going to add a line straight through, and then just going to have to do a quick weld in place of those points. And then from there, I'll kind of debate in my head, trying to figure out how do I do this again. And then it'll click, and then my brain will be like, ah, yes, connect those two to there, and then just delete the unneeded edges to get quads. And now you've got beautiful quads for your corner rather than tries. And same thing for the bottom of it. Same exact treatment. Weld in place. Delete what you don't want. Add what you do. And boom, you got some quads. And boom, you're ready to subdivide. But from there, I moved on straight to the next big one, which was the piece with the cutout in it, which is the middle support. This piece was a little bit trickier because of that cutout. It needed a little bit more support along those loops. So I tried my best to do it here in a reasonable amount of time. Just going to do a quick target weld and then just kind of delete these unneeded polygons. Having those nice strong squares will make it really easy when we go to bevel to add shapes like this. So this is near the cutout, where the cutout happens. So I'm just kind of going through and fixing out the topology around there. With adding all of those, I ruined the topology of the circle, so I had to go through and delete unneeded extra polygons or extra edges, so that way when it goes to subdivide that there aren't any errors. So I noticed this one was wrapping all the way around, so rather than deleting it, because I realized it's supporting the edge loop right there, I just decided to connect it and leave it in. And the benefit of that is then it adds that additional supporting edge loop, and it's really easy to fix. Just going to go through and straighten it real quick, and then just do a couple of weld in places for those additional tries that you've got there. So, but I end up going back and doing that in a little bit. So I'm just going to kind of straighten out the topology first and make sure that's all looking really good and clean. Some of it I kind of got to do by hand because of the way that this geometry loops around itself. But overall, I get it looking good. As you can see, the topology there is a little messed up, but I end up going back and fixing it right now. I realize, hey, this isn't right. I need a bevel here. So I go back through and I add that bevel and allow that corner to wrap itself all the way up. Rather than just going off into the model somewhere. And this ends up working out a lot better. So I just do a quick control click to from one point to another so that I get exactly where I want. And then I just connect it down the middle and then just do a couple target welds just to clean it up and add the quads. And then the slightly difficult part, just this down here, just kind of have to reattach and recut the edges here, and just kind of supplement them to the right root. And then through here, you just kind of got to delete what you don't need, so that way you end up with quads at the end. And here you do. You end up with clean quads. And then you also get a really nice, strong 5-pointed vertice as well. That one right there that I'm selecting, yeah. That gives it really good strength there at that edge there. Now I'm just kind of going through and straightening it out and cleaning up the topology and making sure it looks the way I want it to do. Using my transparency mode as needed just to make sure I'm selecting the right topology that I want to select and moving it in the right direction. So now I'm just going to take it, line it up, and then mirror it so that way it fits in the correct location. Then I do the same thing to the other side pretty much. Not too crazy, not too crazy. Pretty basic stuff for this part. Just kind of relining it up and then, of course, deleting the old one. And then copying the screws over as instances. And then mirroring it on the other side again as well. And then just lining it up. And the only thing I end up having to go back and do is just fixing the circles, the holes in the supports, which is pretty easy. But from there, I just kind of take, and I'm going to end up kind of taking a little break there, but then I come back. I forget to start recording, but then I quickly remember, yes, I should start recording this. I restart the recording, and I'm just kind of cleaning up the beveled topology I just added for the roundabout piece here. So as you can see, I just kind of beveled the corners each, and now I'm just kind of going through and adding additional loops and additional cuts to service for good quad topology. So that way when I go to bevel the other edges, it's really easy and really quick. I just end up doing that to two sides, and then I hit it with the symmetry tool. And then from there, I'm able to quickly move on to the next part. So same thing here, just cut across, another cut across to get quads. Same thing at the bottom, cut across, cut all the way across to get quads. And then I missed that one there, so I just went back and did it real quick. So I went through and combined all of those. Now I'm going through and selecting the edges. Symmetried it, fixed everything. Then I went through and beveled everything. Got really nice chamfers. And then yeah, that service does both my top, my middle, and my bottom piece. Basically acting as like a slightly modular piece for my asset building. Now I'm just lining it up so it's at the same height as the previous one. So pretty happy with that. So I delete the old one. And then line it up with the front there. But I realize, oh shit, it's an instance. But I didn't realize it right away. But I quickly do. And then I'm like, oh. I'm like, what? Like, let me fix that real quick. So, then I get it working. Look at it from the top, fix it, and then I move on from that. So, here I'm working on finishing up the front supports. I just took the back supports and deleted the top off of them. And then I added a cap to it, and now I'm just refixing the topology. I just figured that would be easier for me real quick. So that's exactly what I'm doing. Basically making the same exact topology as I have on previous ones, just on a shorter piece, basically. So pretty quick. In retrospective, a faster way would have been to delete the middle, move the top down, and then weld the top to the bottom of where you deleted. That would have been a little bit faster, but you know, that's in retrospect. This ended up working just fine, and I was happy with the result in the end. So, yeah, I just kind of continued to clean up the model from here, just making sure that each of the topology is looking pretty good and looking clean as the other ones. And then I went through and aligned the different pieces just to make sure that they're fit together correctly. And I'll just have to move that leg just a little bit more, but not very far. And then I debate on how to do the bottom of it, and I realized that I'll probably have to just kind of manually do it because of the way I did it. And I also forgot to put a line here, but that's easy fix. And I just put that in there. Then I just kind of finished cleaning it up, and I'll kind of skip forward here to that point here. I just kind of scaled it in a little bit and then moved the vertices around, and then this was kind of my final cleanup here, and then pushed all of them down a bit, just to make it as similar as possible, and then just cleaned up the topology and just kind of generally straightened things out and tried to clean things up as best I could. And I was pretty happy with it by the end. Kind of straightened some more things out, straighten the center out, straighten those ones out. Not too much because those ones are in kind of a bad location. They're kind of holding two different edges. But I can at least straighten these ones out and make a better square. And pull the edge out a little bit more so it's a little bit more uniform. And I just kind of clean up this corner here and just kind of align things a little bit better because kind of got whack-out. Kind of whack-jobbed. So got that fixed up and cleaned up. And I got like a little bit of a lip above there, which is nice. It's exactly what I wanted. And just kind of straightened some other things out, including some of these down here, but that didn't take me too long. And that was a pretty quick fix, so. And then I noticed some minor topology issues inside the circle there and in a couple of various places, and I went back and ended up fixing those as well. You can kind of see it there at the bottom there. I end up fixing that here in just a little bit, but I don't notice it right away. I'm like, do I like that? No, I don't like that. No, I'm just doing very, very minor tweaks just to kind of clean up the overall scale and the silhouette of this edge piece. So I'll skip forward here just a little bit. Here I'm cleaning up the circle that I talked about, just kind of getting that back to as best of a shape as I could, which didn't take me very long at all. Straighten some of it out just to kind of clean it up. Made sure that my camera was good and straight. And then just kind of moved these verts inwards just to clean it up and make it a bit more identical all the way around. Was pretty happy with that. Then all I had left to do was just add the screws to those pieces and then merge it to the other side. If you're liking it so far, you want to see more, I'll be posting more later this week with the rest of the model. I'll post part 2 hopefully on Friday, with part 3 coming out, the final part on Sunday, showing it off in engine. And then throughout the week next week, you can join me in stream, where we'll be taking this model and we'll be making a low poly and we'll be baking it, doing all sorts of cool things to it, parallax occlusion mapping, and we may even get a chance to make some LODs if we get the chance, which would be really, really fun to do. Here I'm just kind of going through and realizing, you know what, I don't really want this stuff in the front, so I'm actually gonna delete this circle and shorten the size of this piece here, which you'll see me do momentarily. So, but yeah, if you really like it, let me know what you think. Feel free to give me some feedback. I'm gonna continue to work on this model some more. As you saw, quite a bit is already completed. And we're going to continue to get to that point. So next time you see it, maybe you'll get a sneak peek of it, what it looks like in engine. So I hope you enjoyed the video. We're just going to kind of finish it out here. I'll have some music in the background, and you can finish watching me complete this kind of edge here, and that will complete it for today. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day. Keep modeling. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave them down below. I'd be happy to help you out. So have a great one, and talk to you all real soon. Peace.